This is Josephine from the Pointe shop. I'm going from California all the way to Chicago, and I'm stopping by Salt Lake City. So of course I'm stopping by Ballet West, and I'm with Peter Merz, who is the Academy Director here. Tell us where you started, where you went to.
I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, and I actually started ballet when I was 3 at this little, tap jazz ballet school. But that was back in the olden times when we only had cartoons on Saturday mornings, and that was when my ballet class was too. So I quit for a couple years because I discovered the joy of cartoons. Then when I was 8, I started with, at the time it was called the Schwartz School of the Dance, Josephine and Hermine Schwartz, wow. Which was the precursor for the Dayton Ballet School. And then I was with the Dayton Ballet from 8 until I graduated high school at 18. Then I went to the University of Cincinnati on a dance scholarship, but after a year I got a job with Louisville Ballet, and I danced there for a couple of years, and then I actually met my wife. We auditioned for Cincinnati Ballet at the same audition. I didn't meet her that day, but
you're too focused.
Yeah, exactly. But we danced with Cincinnati Ballet for several years. After that, I went back to the University of Cincinnati and got a degree in theater design and production. Then I was the artistic administrator for the USA International Ballet Competition in Jackson, Mississippi for the 2002 competition. After that, I was at Point Park University for 11 years. I was a tenured professor there. But I really wanted to get back to a school connected with a major company. Everybody in the room, everybody in the building has the chance to see the main company dancers and to be inspired by them all the time. So that's what really drew me back to a place like Ballet West.
What's your favorite age group to teach?
I did teach at Pittsburgh Youth Ballet. My wife and I both taught there. So we taught all ages. I've pretty much always tried to teach as many different ages as possible because I feel as a teacher, just as a student, we try and challenge our students. So as teachers, it's good to always challenge ourselves. And each age, each stage of development has its own purpose. So I like teaching beginning point. When you're teaching the 12 and 13-year-olds, when they're just getting on point, for example, or just starting to learn how to partner, another thing I really like to do, the teacher has a lot of responsibility, I feel, to give the information correctly and slowly and repetitively.
I noticed a little bit of that too while I was watching you in class, even though it was a very short time. I thought it was very playful, and I thought it was really fun. Like for me, especially because I'm not doing anything, yeah. But for me to watch, it was really fun for me to see, and I can tell that everybody in there wanted to please you.
The people that I got to work with that really inspired me as teachers and coaches are people who were very demanding and very encouraging and kept that sense of joy and fun. I sometimes joke, when I grew up, I wanted to be Freddie Franklin. He was this amazing man who danced with every ballerina of the 20th century, and danced for Ballet Russe and the ABT, and he was the hardest working person in the studio whenever you were with him, and he was always kind. And so he got so much work out of you, and you just being in the room with him was so much inspiration.
Right.
So that's what I go for. And I don't feel like that's just me. I feel like that is really the way Adam likes to run the company. I think that the whole spirit at Ballet West is exuberant collaboration.
I was watching a little bit of the company classes too, and it's the same feeling walking in there. There's a lot of joy and like the dancing and everything, so that was really cool for me to watch.
And it shows on stage, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The rise of the trainee program has been happening more and more. And actually, what I like about that is this is really vocational training.
Yeah.
In Europe, it's kind of the understanding that if you want a job in the vocations, you would go into vocational training. And with ballet, it's such a young person's art form. You have to do it while your body still can. So I think that the fact that we now have these programs that young people at 17, 18 can go into, I think it serves them and their careers a little bit better. I know, having gone back to college after my performing career, I was a much better student.
That makes sense.
And then I also have a master's of business administration.
Wow.
the intellectual curiosity hopefully will always be with you.
And you actually have an advantage because
Yeah.
because you have such a different background as a dancer and such different creativity that you would have an edge if you went into business.
Yep.
So I think that's perfect for a
Yeah.
lot of dancers because usually a lot of dancers will have to have a second career
Well,
anyway.
I think that those people who are most successful are the ones who treat their careers like entrepreneurs. You know, even if you're going to be in a company, you always have to be thinking about your brand and your market. And part of thinking about your brand is how are you presenting yourself on social media? How are you presenting yourself in auditions and that sort of thing. So
Now, when you're looking for trainees,
Mm-hmm.
new trainees, what are you specifically looking for in auditions?
a lot of people ask, what's the Ballet West look? When we have this reputation for hiring very tall dancers and whatnot. I find that what the most successful dancers here are the strong technicians. So strong technique is really important. It's not just, oh, this body looks good and maybe we can do something with it. For the trainee program, we're really looking for strong technique as well. We're also looking for confident performance. I think that Adam really likes glamorous, bold performers. And I think that that's a skill that you need to practice.
Absolutely.
But so I think if you bring that kind of presence to the audition, it'll help. And then we work to provide as many performance opportunities as we can so you have practical ways to practice that. I'm also looking for intellect. I tend to give tricky combinations, and I'll do it in an audition too, because I want to see how quickly you pick up choreography. I want to see that this is a dancer who dances as much with their mind as with their body.
So if you can give advice to that 12 or 13-year-old girl that wants to be in the Ballet West Academy one day, what kind of advice would you give them to kind of get them to prepare themselves for your audition?
Pay attention at bar. I think bar is where you can perfect and change the most about your technique. And I think too often, especially at a young age, I know I did, we endure bar so that we can get to center and jump and turn. Explore as many creative outlets as possible. Go to museums, listen to music, read as much as possible. Challenge your own assumptions. Go to every dance concert you can go to. This is a story, I don't know if it's true or not, but when Balanchine was living in Paris, Isadora Duncan came with her company and did a whole series of performances. And he went to all of them, and somebody asked him, did you like them? He said, no, it was terrible. But I could tell it was important, so I went every night.
Wow.
That's probably, I don't know if that's true or not, but that idea of it's important to get yourself out there and challenge your assumptions about what you like. You never know what you're going to find that's going to inspire you again.